We've just come out of the COVID pandemic. A lot of people lost their jobs, and especially the young people, right? Because you've got the young people who had just gone into industry, maybe just qualified from university or whatever, and they needed to go into jobs. We have got the group of people who probably were trying out new things and they didn't work. And then we have got the group of people who could have been architects like yourself, and suddenly they were told, no more jobs.
No more jobs.
Right?
Yeah.
So we are in a new revolution, and I believe that this is the fourth industrial revolution if you look at it. So how can we tie that back to that experience and how that can inform the person today?
Very, very powerful. I think that's perfect alignment there. I think when I look back and compare it to what's happening now, I think the similarities are the same. It's like we were told that the world was shaped, the work world was of this structure. You had to get a certain degree, a certain kind of achievement in order to be successful. And yes, the fourth industrial revolution has changed that, because it's kind of leveled the playing field a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of created a scenario where if you're in countries where you are predominantly in a lesser kind of opportunity position, you can now see yourself as leveled and being able to do more.
Right.
And I think what needs to change, though, in the mindset, which is what changed for me back then, was your belief in yourself that actually, you know what, I could step out of this frame that says you have to be this way,
right,
and start something new. And I think that's where we are today, where I think a lot of young people have to release themselves from the cultural or environmental pressures that have created this idea that if you don't have a job, you have nothing. And unfortunately, some of that is actually ingrained in our culture.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is also ingrained in what we hear and listen to.
Right.
I think it's that needs to change. You need to adopt to the new world we're in. And I take note from what you said earlier about COVID, that it really changed that even more than this fourth industrial revolution. COVID kind of said, you know what, we could be whoever we want to be and still operate. Well, it opened up the globe to the world, let's put it that way, and gave that opportunity to be whoever you want to be. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, and the way I put it is that, your house could be in England, right?
Yeah.
But your door could be in Zimbabwe.
Absolutely.
Because it is a world without boundaries, right?
Yeah.
But it's the transformation has to start in the mind. You have to start to see that these opportunities are there for you. If you can connect, let's just say, for example, the tools that people are using to connect socially every day. Our Facebook tools, our social media tools, right? Our WhatsApp tools.
Yes.
We are now using them for social connection, but also for business. So if we look at that to say, okay, if I'm able to connect with someone from anywhere in the world, of the 18 billion people on the planet now, right? You can connect with anyone. Can you think about it that you can also work with anyone?
Yes.
You can also start a company that can serve any one of those people.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. And I think maybe this touches on a point where, if I look back to the genesis of Action Starter, the business I run now, it really came from taking the opportunity in a different country. Because if I look back to the origins of just where I was when it started, I think I'd just come back from Zimbabwe, where I'd gone for a whole year. And I'd moved to Zimbabwe after leaving an opportunity that I'd been working on for a while. Went back with the intention to stay. Did a lot of work on the continent. Did a lot of volunteering. On coming back here, I quickly realized that the mindset that I had groomed during that time would be easier. Well, had more opportunity in this environment. Let's put it that way.
Right.
And the technology I've been working on for the last 5 years in my, I would say in my, I was going to say in my office or whatever, but it was just literally me on trains every day thinking, how can I ease the work I'm doing? How can I make the job I'm doing easier? And I'd be working on this technology for a while. When I came back at that time, it was kind of like, well, this is the time for it to work. And the environment was right for that. But why am I touching on this is because I think when I then look at what then happened for the following 3 or 4 years, is that I realized pretty quickly as well that even the opportunity in this country was even less than the one across the world.
Right.
So coming back to what you said about realizing that the world's bigger than where you are, when I realized that, it's what sent us internationally, so we could actually start service people we had never met, landing in countries I'd never been to, thinking, well, actually, do you realize, I remember speaking to someone on the plane, and we were both there, out there. I think we landed in Oman, of all places.
Right.
Who would have thought I'd been Oman?
Yeah.
And I remember looking to someone next to me, and he was a sales guy from Singapore, selling some stuff in Oman. I remember we looked at each other and said, well, you know what, in Oman, we are the only people that do what we do right now. Right? Which made us realize that when we export our talents in whatever way we do digitally, we could be reaching people that really need our service.
Absolutely.
As opposed to being in a country where you feel like you're competing all the time.
Yeah.
So what I'll be saying to a lot of the young people, a lot of businesses that are probably, if we look back from a Zim context, is that there are people out there who need what you offer.
Right.
The difference is you're in an economy or a situation where people don't maybe it's too competitive, or people just don't appreciate that. But when you open your wings to that kind of global world, you suddenly have a market that you can't fulfill. Like, there's too many of them. Right. And I think that's what COVID has done. It's kind of said to every young person, you studied to be an architect, you studied to be a nurse, you studied to be, or anything digital. I will always touch on digital, creative. Your creativity does not have to be limited by your environment. It can be anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I would be saying to a lot of young people, really change your mindset on that and start to see things slightly differently.
Thank you. That's absolutely amazing. We're ready.